Well, something rather bad is coming out right after the United States election this November. And the truth of the matter is, it is going to, metaphorically speaking, slap a lot of Democrats in the face. The good news is you're here and you're getting the truth of what's really going on. But the sad news is right now, mainstream media is out there bragging and encouraging the Kamala Harris administration and other Democrats to shut up about her policies. They are literally hiding this information from their own people because if, God forbid, Democrats actually find out what the hell this woman wants to do, they may not vote for her. They are going to destroy the country. I'm sorry. If you are a Democrat and you're listening, what the hell is going on? Because do these people want to be lied to? I mean, seriously, how can somebody out there be okay with that? Yet the Democrat Party is okay with having this stuff hid from them? That would tick me off as just an average person there. But I've got a lot to share with you. Take a look at what I'm talking about here because I always bring receipts, right? This is on thehill.com. Democrats defend Harris for avoiding policy. The article goes on. Democrats are defending VP Harris for not diving too far into policies during her condensed campaign, arguing the short timeline lends itself to a focus on broad themes. The article goes on. Democrats argue she can afford to not get too far into the weeds on policies because Americans want to hear about her priorities, all about her personality and her priorities and stuff. And quote, "We don't have time for this SHIT," one Democrat operative said about the idea of lengthy policy proposals. "The reason you talk about policy is to bring the race back to values. And this race is all about values now. So why distract?" No joke. And they're not the only ones talking about it. Take a look at what CNN, aka Communist News Network, had to say. Congressional Democrats urge Harris to focus on character over policy on the campaign trail. CNN goes on to quote Michigan representative here. "I actually think the way the American people think about this choice is less about the minutia of policies and more about the direction of the country, number one, and secondly, about the person. Character, it does matter," Michigan Representative Dan Kildee told CNN while in Chicago for the DNC. "If it turns on character, this election is over." That's what people are looking for, he continued to state. Here they are, again, openly bragging that they're hiding policy from their own people. Now, thankfully, you've got channels such as mine exposing her policies, and I'm going to get into it. And by the way, it is going to literally kill our economy to the very core. But before I dive in, I just want to give a quick reminder and shout out to my sponsor, Noble Gold Investments. Look, in a world of economic insecurity, because that's where we are, safeguarding your retirement is absolutely imperative. Gold is a very trusted source of value, and it has been sustainable through years. That is why you guys want to go to lisahavengold.com right now and check it out. All you got to do is fill out this information, click get it now, and they're going to send you that free gold and silver investment guide. You guys really need to safeguard your retirement, and you can do that with them. You can get a 401k, an IRA backed by gold, silver, and precious metals. These are things you want to do. And by the way, if you call them at the number on the screen below or throw my name out there, they are also giving away this 1 ounce silver Trump coin, or up to 10 of these, by the way, or even a 10-ounce silver American flag bar for qualifying accounts. But if you want more information on that, click that more button in the description box below if you're on your cell phone, or go to the description box below to get more information on that. And by the way, there's always a risk for investing and there's never a guarantee. But check it out at lisahavengold.com. But with that, the reason that these Democrats are wanting to hide this information is because if real intel gets out to their own side about what Kamala intends to do, which is a massive $1 trillion hike of taxes on the American population, this could very well sway the election against her because the policies are straight up socialist and communist in nature. Take a look at what I'm talking about here. And this is on Americans for Tax Reform. They've really got a great assessment on this. $5 trillion list of tax hikes Kamala Harris just endorsed. And again, They're keeping this from the Democrats. They don't want this information to come out until it's too late after the United States election. But here it is. VP Kamala Harris wants to extract about $5 trillion in tax increase from American households and businesses. Her campaign confirmed on Monday. Now, here are some of the things that she is going to implement. And please share this video with everyone you know. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, by the way, because we need to get this information out. But take a look. Kamala Harris's tax increase include small business tax rate hike to 39.6%. Right now, we're at about 37% for the highest rate there, and she wants to take that top marginal number to 39.6%. By the way, that means if you're a small business, you get to keep 60%, and good old-fashioned government gets 40%. This is absolutely massive. And then, of course, we've got the corporate tax rate higher. A corporate tax rate, she wants to make it higher than the European Union and even communist China. Kamala Harris wants to hike the current 21% federal corporate income tax rate to 28%. China is currently at 25 and the EU is currently at 21, right? Also, this federal 28% rate is higher than Asia's average of 19.8, EU average of 21. The world average, by the way, is 23.5. This is absolute insanity when you look at all of this together. This would be a burden, by the way, unlike any other. So this corporate tax rate is actually going to kill our country. One of the things. Another one here is the capital gains and dividends tax more than twice as high as communist China. A Kamala Harris capital gains and dividend tax rate of 44.6. China's capital gains tax rate is currently 20%. Is it wise to have higher taxes than China? That's a good question because it's absolutely not. In fact, under the Harris plan, and this is really important, the combined federal state capital gains tax exceeds 50% in many states. California is going to face about a combined rate of 57.8. That's more than half of your paycheck. New Jersey, 55.3. Oregon, 54.5. Minnesota, 54.4. And New York, 53.4. And that could cause, by the way, a massive exit from a lot of those states. Now, another one here that I want to get into is the unconstitutional wealth tax on unrealized gains. Now, the Harris endorsed budget calls for an annual 25% minimum tax on the unrealized gains of individuals with income and assets exceeding over $100 million. However, once in place, it won't be long before the threshold is lowered to hit more Americans. And I want to pause on this one because this one is deadly as all get out. For those who don't know, and for those liberals listening out there, because there are some of them who are out there listening, unrealized tax gains, to give you an idea of what this does, right? So I buy a house, say I buy a house for, I don't know, $100,000. And it goes up 500,000. It goes up to 500,000, right? So there's 400,000 that I made in my home. My home is basic. Let's say I paid off my home. I owe nothing on my home, but all of a sudden I make 400,000 on my home, and I'm not selling it. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to do anything with it. Well, Kamala Harris' plan says, well, you're going to pay a tax whether you sell it or not on that 400,000. In fact, you're going to pay 25%. You owe me, Lisa Haven, $100,000. Well, now I have to take a loan out on my home that was already paid off to pay that $100,000. So now I own $100,000 on my loan that I now have to send back to Kamala because she says I made money on that on the 500,000. I made 400,000. Now, if that home goes down the next year to, I don't know, 200,000, are they going to give me a credit back? No, they're not. They're going to keep that money, regardless if it's sold. This is insanity no matter who it is, right? I'm sorry, this is wrong on so many levels. And by the way, it is almost certain, I would say about 100% certainty, that eventually that $100 million person limit gets pushed down to, well, now we're going to do anybody making over 500,000. Now we're going to do everyone. They always start massive taxes at the very top and stupid taxes, and it always funnels down to us. Just because it's not for us right now doesn't mean it won't be for us later. That's what a lot of these Democrats don't get. It will boil down to us. They will say the rich people are already paying it. Now it's your turn. And you know what that's going to cause? Because every year I made a little more on my money, and I've now made now I've paid $200,000 on my house, and not as much resources in that. And then next year it goes up again. I got to pay a little more yet again on that unrealized gain. This is murder of our economy, absolute murder, because what happens is eventually you'll owe the same amount that you earned, and hey, you'll owe nothing and be happy, just like the World Economic Forum stated. This is Kamala's plan. And all the stupid people out there, I've been debating with some stupid people on the internet, and they're like, oh, it's only for those over 100 million who make over that. No, listen, Linda. It goes down. And eventually, if they start at the rich, how do you think they got a majority of taxes passed in the past? They started with the uber rich, and it funnels down to us. Not only that, but if you do this to our uber rich, they're going to leave the freaking country. They're not going to invest here. They're just not. And then what happens? Our economy will crumble. This is the most insane thing. That on top of the price gouging, right? Anyway, her other one. And then she goes on to talk about a second death tax by taking away steeped up bases when parents die. Yeah. On top of the death tax, by the way, and CNBC actually put it this way. When someone dies and the asset transfer to an heir, that transfer itself will be taxable event. And the estate is required to pay taxes on the gains as if they sold the asset. Harris's proposal to take away stepped-up bases has already been tried and failed. In 1976, Congress eliminated that because it was so complicated and unworkable, and a repeal took place. But here she is, yet again, wanting you to pay more on the death tax. It's just insanity. Then we also have other really bad things like a global tax cartel with a 21% minimum tax rate. She wants to join the international tax cartel. God forbid you have any carbons. Global tax cartel. Then quadrupled tax on stock buybacks. A Harris tax will hit every American with a 401k, an IRA, or even a union pension. How's that working for you, unions? That's not something you want, right? 30% federal excess tax on electricity used in cryptocurrency mining. Also, it applies to the wash sale rules to digital assets. Then we have $37 billion tax increase on your energy. There goes your energy prices, babies. Saving the world is their cliche there. 32% while killing the average American and making you completely poor. 32% increase on Medicare taxes. Carried interest tax on capital gains. 24 billion retirement tax, real estate tax hikes on like-kind exchanges, and even a further supersized IRS to catch you pesky little conservatives, which they've targeted before. If you thought Harris and congressional Democrats had already supersized them enough, guess again. Their budget plan shoves another $143 billion into the agency. Eroding taxpayer rights by making it easier for IRS agents to stack up questionable penalties against you. Do you see why this is a really bad thing for America? I know you do. But do you also see why they want these policies hidden? And they want her to focus on character. And they want her to shut her mouth. They are defending her for avoiding policies. Look, the mainstream media is complicit in the death of the United States of America. They're absolutely complicit. They don't care about you. They don't care about policies, and they want us all broke, and they're taking us all with them by hiding this from the Democrats. God forbid you share this video and show Democrats what they need to hear, right? This is all laid out, right? She doesn't have a tax plan website or anything like that as of yet. Why not? Why not? There's a reason why. They don't even have any of this really laid out. It's kind of under the radar for you to know about if you figure it out. But they're not going to talk about it, and they're not going to share it. And of course, this is one of the most deadly ones as well. The Washington Post, she plans to propose a ban on price gouging for food and groceries. People go out of business when that happens. Product becomes crap product and less available. Thus, cue the food lines and the black market for food. Is this really what you want? This is not a good thing, folks. This is a really bad thing. A really, really bad thing. And you know what else? I'm going to show you an old clip with her and Al Sharpton saying how she'd even sign a reparation bill. Where's that money going to come from, right? Take a listen to this clip, and I want you to hear it.
But in the area of reparations for descendants of Africans enslaved, if you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that bill.
I will sign that bill. The good news is, I don't think the bill is going to be able to hit her desk if we have enough Republicans in the House and Senate by then, right? God only knows. Because I am very afraid that they're going to wipe all three. I honestly am. And I'll be very frank with you. And we're going to have to batten down the hatches because they're going to come after conservatives full-fledged, folks. Full-fledged. Mark my words. That's what the IRS for. That's why she's beefing them up. That's why she's paying for it. We're all going to... And that's only one little piece of the pile. They've already weaponized the entire Department of Justice. The FBI, CIA, DHS. Weaponized against us already. They've been purging conservatives from their ranks all this time, and libertarians, anyone who stands against the tyrannical regime. And they're lying to their people. Covering it up. Hiding policies. That's why you hear joyous candidate Kamala Harris is all full of joy. And that's why you don't hear the real news. Share her policies. Share her policies, please, with those Democrats. Anyhow, I love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Havens signing out.